Catherine, what a pleasure. Welcome to Spotlight Fridays.
Thank you, Anna. Very excited to be here.
I'm very excited to have you. So, 25 years in marketing. You worked agency side, in house, and as a consultant as well, guiding marketing teams through every shift that there is to navigate. But I am pretty sure that you would agree that AI is just another very big shift for you to navigate. And I hear you're doing it very, very well.
Thank you, Anna. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's one thing to be sure, having worked in marketing for so long, nothing has stayed the same for a while. We've got to be adaptable creatures, don't we? And curious. There's always something new. But yes, I've been in marketing since that very first shift when we had to, the last big shift, I suppose, when we had to go from being print media and billboards and TV ads into the world of digital. And I remember back then, people being a bit skeptical and thinking, is this online stuff going to stick around? Is this goggle thing really important? And we had to really shift and evolve and change the whole ways that we worked and connected with customers. And then over the last 20 years, there's always been something new, hasn't there? Whether it's adapting to search or learning more about mobile, or how do we get better at our customer data and connection points. So there's always been new channels and tools, but the fundamental shift that AI brings really is different, because it's this whole layer underneath the whole ways that we're working. It's not just a new channel or a new tactic or a new way of connecting with customers. It's really unlocking and enabling totally different ways of work, which is why it's very exciting and, really glad to be here leading teams through it.
I think you're right about curiosity. It seemed to be the theme for me this week because it just keeps popping up across so many conversations. And I think it's so important for marketers, for us, people in this profession, that we've been here for a very, very long time and seen so many, to your point, shifts and transitions, that it is so important for us to stay curious because we don't know everything, but we know how to navigate the changes because we've navigated quite a few.
That's it. And we're extremely good in marketing at being curious. We have to be curious, don't we? Every ad that we put out or every campaign, we're testing, learning, evolving, and not being afraid to fail. I think that's a really important characteristic at the moment, that often we'll work with teams and they've tried something on AI and it didn't work. And that's part of the process, isn't it? It's part of the learning process. Every time we go and run a prompt or try and build our first little mini agent or assistant or map a workflow, it's not always going to get it right first time, but that curiosity and that adaptability to say, well, what did I learn from that? Why did it work? Why didn't it work? And just that curiosity to unlearn to relearn. We've got to rethink. There's we talk quite a bit in a lot of our workshops and talks that we do about, there's a concept from Adam Grant. Adam Grant is an incredible behavioral
Love Adam.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of his concept, mental fossils, but he talks about, so mental fossils are amazing at the moment, where we carry around behaviors that we've learned and things that we've done for years, and they served us, but they no longer serve us. So a great example of a mental fossils moment was actually COVID. So if you think pre-COVID, how many of us worked in businesses where they said, oh no, you can't work from home. We've all got to be together in the workplace. It's not safe. We can't build culture. We're not going to be productive. And then COVID hit and we all of a sudden had to adapt overnight and change our whole ways of working. And AI is like our next mental fossils moment, where there's previous ways that we used to do things that might have worked, but just because they used to work in the past, it doesn't mean they're going to serve us moving forward. So that curiosity and that ability to kind of unlearn the way that we've done things and be able to almost write a new rule book of saying, well, if I could walk into my job tomorrow, which bits would I not want to do versus what do I love? That's open to us now. So it's unlocking some of those mental fossils that's going to help us move forward.
That's a great term for it. I'm going to steal it from Adam and from you. Thank you for mentioning that. But I think, any disruption like this, it's a very healthy thing to do because we do have to have a look at the certain processes, the way we do things and the way we should or should not do them. And I think we should never be complacent and stuck in our own ways because the world doesn't operate like that. The world is just moving forward. Well, with the major two wars going on in the world, it feels like backwards. But outside of that political situation, I think the shift is tremendous. You have a lot of credibility. You've trained about 10,000 plus marketers across 20 plus countries. I stalked you on LinkedIn. As you know, I've done it for a very long time. So I read your bio. And it's incredible what you and your husband managed to achieve as consultants in such a short period of time, because there are quite a few people pointed me towards you in your direction. So, and I agree, we had a great chat and you have so much knowledge and experience and expertise. And I wanted to bring you into my community so you can share it all. So I do have a few questions for you. And we'll see how we go. I have many questions, and anyone who joins us live, you're very welcome to ask us questions as well. So we'll see how we go for time. Do
Perfect.
you think there is pressure for teams right now, for marketing teams, to move fast and adopt AI quickly? What is your view?
Yeah, 100%, Anna. I think that we as an industry have been under so much pressure to do more with less. We've been under budget scrutiny. We've been trying to get across so many channels and so many assets that we've just ended up getting onto a little bit of a marketing hamster wheel, haven't we? Where there never feels like there's enough hours in the day, and there never feels like, we've got to the end of our to-do lists. So the slight challenge with introducing AI into that already very pressured pressure cooker environment where we're kind of exploding with everything we have to do. The downside of AI is it actually enables us to do stuff faster, but faster doesn't mean better. So what we're seeing in a lot of organizations and teams at the moment is probably two things. Number one, people have been given the tools, but without any real training. So we've been, AI has been rolled out in the organization, and we might have been given licenses to a number of different tools that have got AI embedded in them, but we haven't been shown how to work with them effectively to get good results. And we all know, AI slop, as it's being fondly called, stuff that sounds like AI or looks like AI is not doing us or our brand any credit. But because marketers are under this dual pressure of just do stuff faster, and we've been given tools where we haven't necessarily been trained to get them to support us better, the temptation is that we will just turn to sort of, the quick tactics to get content out or assets out across our channels, but actually it's diminishing our brand value. So we need to be able to slow down and use AI in the right way, that it helps us amplify our thinking and our creativity and our connection with our customers, not just do more with less.
Yes, I like your view on, in this instance, that faster doesn't mean better. And we need to be very careful how we assess the situation and the whole privacy points around it, and follow the guidance from the expert like yourself. You talk about the messy middle, where teams use AI individually but fail to translate into a team wide uplift. What does it look like in practice, and why are so many organizations stuck there? Because I know that everyone's got ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude as an app on their phone. So individually, there is a wide adoption of those AI tools, but not when it comes to the team environment. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the messy middle we describe as, we've pretty much now, when we're working with organizations, we've got some kind of strategy from the top. We know that AI is really, really important to us as an organization. It's going to enable us to do better marketing work. It's going to unlock a lot of additional efficiencies in our organization. And then we've got at the bottom level, individuals, as you say, pretty much most marketers we speak to now are using AI in a day-to-day basis. So whether that's summarizing copy or creating assets. The challenge is to scale, we've actually got to go backwards to go forwards. So we can't truly weave AI into our team-wide strategies and our team-wide processes until we take the time out to stop and look as a team at, well, what is working well at the moment? Where in our processes are we experiencing the most friction? And the problem that we're seeing is that a lot of organizations have started with problems first, whereas actually what you want to start with is platforms first, whereas actually what we want to start with is pain points and problems. So if we take that time to stop as a team and map out, well, where are the common problems that we're all experiencing? We find that there's bottlenecks. We find that there's duplication in work between teams. We find that there's messy handoffs where things go back through lots and lots of loops. When we can start to take the time to find those, that's where we can start to layer AI in on a more scaled level. But in order to do that, it's hard work and it takes time. So we have to step off our business as usual and our campaigns and it's just that fact that we are so busy. How do we carve out the resources, the bandwidth, and the time to actually look at this stuff more strategically and work out where AI is going to add the most value? Do we have the tools to support it? How does that impact the way that we're working as a team at the moment? So we're seeing a big sticking point, and it's a natural stagnation point that every team's going to hit. You can get so far with individual productivity, but to truly scale and unlock the value of AI, we've got to stop working in individual silos and start looking at collectively as a team what works strategically, where are things broken, and how do we map those processes that we can bring AI in better to uplift all of us and support all of us. So it comes back full circle to training time, planning days, skill sets internally to be able to lead that change.
You created a perfect segue for my next question, and you partially already answered it because I wanted to speak to you about what functions need to be in place before AI can actually elevate that performance. But to your point earlier, is probably need to start with not with AI first and the platforms first, but with actually discussions and the workshopping scenario where can they brainstorm their what is currently working, what isn't, and what AI, if at all, can amplify that. But it needs to be discussed in the team's environment. It can't be in silos environment, just the marketing, just IT, just digital, just retail ops. So it has to be that united approach. Is that what you've seen?
I suppose I'm going to answer that it's a little bit of a Goldilocks here. We don't want to be so small that we're going off in mini silos and doing things. But what you don't want to do is try and tackle your entire AI strategy overnight as an organization. You'll just get stuck at that level as well. So there's probably an ideal middle ground where we see predominantly, marketing departments working together. So across different functions in marketing, yes, connected back to legal compliance or IT, because there are key ones. So from a legal and compliance point of view, guardrails are the absolute step one to unlocking this, making sure that teams and individuals are clear on what the do's and don'ts are of AI. How are we going to safely adopt it? That is probably your non-negotiable step one, because that then unlocks it. And that also helps you keep legal and compliance and IT on side if you're going and saying, hey, we need new tech or we need to unlock a way of doing things. They know that it's coming from a grounding of safe and responsible AI. So that's probably our biggest unlock first. And then, yes, working with a small but targeted internal group. So connecting with those stakeholders that you're going to need to get buy-in and need to be able to make those decisions with you and are not going to micromanage tech decisions or be so risk averse that you can't move forward. But I wouldn't try and go out to everybody. You'll just get stuck in stagnation and decision fatigue.
Yes, too many opinions as well is not always a good way forward. I agree. You've answered that very diplomatically, but I know exactly what you meant. Well said. I heard you talking about guardrails quite a bit, and you see it as enablers rather being uh, prohibitive to this process. But so you think that it's absolutely necessary to have those in place.
Yes, absolutely. And we've got a lovely Australian analogy for any of our Aussies on the call today. We describe it like going to the beach and swimming between the flags. So if you know where the flags are, you feel safe to jump in the sea and you know exactly where the safe zone is. You know someone's got your back. You know that you're free to roam and explore and splash around in the waves. AI is exactly the same. If we haven't put our flags out on the beach, everybody stands there and goes, I'm not really sure. Am I allowed in the water? Where's safe to go? So it does one of two things. On the probably the most risky side, you will have people that are early adopters that are very curious. And we know in every organization we speak to, there's a biggest issue of shadow AI. So shadow AI is people bringing non-authorized AI tools to work because we've all got ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever it is on our phones. So even if organizations have locked them down at a VPN access level or a work laptop level, there's nothing to stop an individual jumping on their phone and using that shortcut. And we are programmed for shortcuts. We know we can go to AI and get things done quickly. So unless we have clear guardrails around, well, these are the tools that you can and can't use, these are the ways that we can and can't use them, there is accidental AI waiting to happen in your organization. So just that clarity and that support. So it mitigates you against risk and, that blow up when something goes wrong and somebody's accidentally uploaded. We've all seen the instances of reports going out that ended up being AI generated. We've seen a newspaper article last week where somebody forgot to cut and paste the bottom of the prompt off and published it. So these really damage a brand. So there's the risk element that we want to make sure that we've got that clear, not to restrict people from using it, but so they feel safe where to play. And then the other element, if we go back to our beach analogy, you've got people standing on the sidelines worried to get in the water because they're not sure what they're allowed to do. And therefore, they don't want to risk doing the wrong thing. So they do nothing. So in every organization, you have different levels of adoption. It's just the way humans adapt to change and how brave, curious, excited we are built. Other people will wait to be shown the path and the safe path forward. So it reins in the overexcited and prevents you from risk, but it also then helps you encourage those that might be a little bit more cautious. So yeah, we absolutely see guardrails as the unlock. One further point on that, one of the biggest issues we see is we often go into organizations and say, hey, do you have guardrails? And they're like, yeah, we've got guardrails. They're a 28-page document that somebody in compliance put together. And we ask the average person on their day-to-day role, what does that mean for you? And are you confident you could explain the do's and don'ts in your job? And nobody's done that translation job. So the communication, another messy middle point, big hard guardrails at the top, but down at the bottom, we're not really sure what that means for us and what we can do.
You've done there's some great points in there. Accidental AI, shadow AI, they're great terms, but very descriptive as well. And I absolutely love your beach analogy too. You recommend building an AI squad. Who belongs in that group and why is cross-functional ownership is so important?
Yeah, so we're seeing one of the biggest unlocks of more advanced AI organizations is that they've put together some kind of AI squad, council, whatever you want to call them. And the biggest thing that we say here is don't always go for your usual suspects. So in every organization, I'm sure you can think of the people in your team that would be the AI people. And they're the go-to and they're the tech savvy ones. And they're the ones that people go, oh, yeah, we'll just give them the AI job to do. They can work it out. They understand this stuff. And we very, very intentionally say, try not to go for your usual suspects, because number one, it then ends up them being the AI people. And it feels like it's something that maybe you do need some technical skills to get your head around. The second element of having people that are maybe a little bit less confident or a little bit more skeptical, they're really good to pressure test things. If we're all just the big enthusiasts, we tend to run off and go, yeah, this is a great idea. And we need a few people that are a little bit more resistant or skeptical, that are going to ask the tricky questions and hold us to account and say, well, is that safe? Is that responsible? Is that taking us in the direction that we want? So we always say, think about the individuals you want. Some organizations enable people to self-select and nominate themselves to join a council. That's a great idea, but you might also want to be a little bit strategic in who you pull into it. Another key crucial element is some level of C-suite or executive sponsorship that is going to help drive the revenue, drive the investment, link it back to the growth targets, so that we know the AI projects that we're choosing are truly the ones that are going to demonstrate commercial value. And then that cross-functional piece unlocks, as we said earlier, we don't want the silos. We don't want to try and have tentacles across the whole organization. But if we're putting together our marketing strategy, who are those key stakeholders beyond marketing that are going to really help us get that off the ground and not be blockers later? So, as we said, IT, legal, they can be really good people to involve quite early, and you can move faster together in the long run if you know you're going on the same page. So I think the biggest thing about the council is AI is probably our highest priority at the moment. That is no one's job. And unless we carve out some bandwidth and resources and say to people, you can allocate a certain amount of your time every week to trying to figure this stuff out, we're simply not going to move forward.
This is such a good point. I wouldn't think of it like that before you mentioned that whole how to put AI squad together. But I think it's so well put that you should have one enthusiast, but one skeptic as well, that they can bounce off each other. And the fact that AI is no one's job, you almost talking about customer ownership. It's like, who owns the customer? It's no one's job. It's exactly the same scenario.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I will never look at it the same way anymore. AI enthusiasts and AI skeptics need to be in one room together. This is brilliant. Thank you. So, as you may heard, there is still fear that AI will diminish creativity. How do you help teams shift toward a human plus AI mindset?
Yeah, it's a big risk, Anna. We've been outsourcing our brains for years. It's human habit. And it links back to that point that we spoke about at the beginning. Because we've been so busy and so under pressure, if you offer me a tool that enables me to do more with less, who's going to say no? But the problem is that, yes, it's already been shown, and we've already seen the studies, haven't we, that, there's plenty of headlines that have been out already. AI is making us dumber. AI is a crutch, not a tool. We're outsourcing our brains. We have to be truly intentional. So if you think about it a little bit like Google Maps and the GPS effect, I don't know about you, but I've become very, very dependent on my Google Maps in the car. When I previously
Absolutely.
lived in Melbourne, I had my Melways and I would navigate, and I had a much better sense of direction. The fact that we now rely on Google Maps, we've actually dimmed that ability in our brains. So it is true, it's a muscle. And if we over rely on AI to do things for us, then we lose that capability. So the way that we educate teams is we're not about human or AI. We're about being really intentional about, well, where do you use AI to emphasize and amplify your own actual intelligence? So it's being pretty mindful about where you bring it into processes. And the creative process is a perfect example. AI doesn't have that really deep, insightful understanding of our customers. It doesn't have the nuance of what the weather is outside today, or what's going on, as you say, culturally or globally. It doesn't have that real-time instinct or taste or just that sense of humanness. So in a creative process, we still want to think of it like an AI sandwich. We bring the human element first. AI is then an incredible amplifier to let us poke holes in it, come up with different ideas, different perspectives, test different ad ideas, and we can now even test creative concepts on synthetic versions of our audiences to see what might resonate, what might land before we even A/B test or launch something live to market. So AI brings that layer in the middle that allows us to high speed ideas, ditch the rubbish ones, build on the good ones, but then we still layer the end of the sandwich, our human elements back on top. But we have to be really intentional about where we bring it into the process so it doesn't dim our creativity. And everyone will have been to AI and had that point where it's just turned it into that vanilla beige blur. We don't want that bit. So it's going, no, hang on, I'm going to step away now and bring my humanness back. And that, again, there's another human element here that we tend to over rely on what AI says to us. And we have to remember that we're the expert here. It's not right. It's just a pattern recognition machine that helps us get to ideas quicker. But, it's being intentional, I think, is the biggest thing, and knowing when to step away.
Yes, but at the same time, don't you think it's such a good idea for humans to stand out from other humans? Because it, everyone can put vanilla stuff into AI and it spits out vanilla, but you can see the difference though
Yeah.
from where it's been used wisely to maybe amplify that the format and the content and the grammar, what have you, or where it was just purely extracted from AI. So you can immediately pinpoint the difference, and you can see who's doing the real work and who doesn't. So there is a question in the audience about something to discuss just before. Do you think marketing are leading the charge in AI adoption?
Yes,
I agree.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. I think because we are more technology led, very curious, and AI has woven its way into our systems much quicker. If you think about some of the biggest use cases for AI have originated in content creation, writing, asset development. They were probably one of the fastest ways that we could use AI. And we're just quite technical. So in most organizations, we are saying that, marketing and sales are probably the two biggest functions and divisions that are leading the charge. So it is up to us to navigate this a little bit, but that's exciting as well because we get to be first to the fore.
Exactly. Yeah, I do see it as the biggest excitement right now. And the fact that we don't know everything is even better. On a personal note, what's been your biggest challenge this year in the AI space and how did you navigate it?
I think it is just staying on top of all the changes. And I think in terms of how you navigate it, what I'm seeing emerge quite quickly is that AI is just like marketing. There are foundational fundamentals about how we work with it that are fairly evergreen, and they don't change with every functional update or every new release. The way that we think and work with AI and the way that we bring it into our day to day to amplify what we're doing are learned skills. It's how you prompt more effectively, how you're aware of the fact that AI can be an enormous people pleaser and we're built for confirmation bias, how you bring it intentionally into your day, how you think more in workflows and processes. Those skills are going to carry us through the next 3, 4, 5 years as we adapt to this change and shift to the way that this technology helps serve us as marketers. You don't have to worry about every new release and every function and every feature that's coming down the line. And I think initially we felt under a huge pressure, and we still are daily across everything. But a lot of the stuff that drops in, it doesn't fundamentally change the way we're going to work immediately. It's good to be aware of what's shifting and changing and the capabilities and the technological innovations, but just be reassured you don't have to be across every new update and everything coming down. Those core skills about how we work moving forward is probably the biggest shift.
Beautiful. Catherine, it's just been such a pleasure speaking with you. And you've been so generous with your knowledge and your insights and your experience. I did want to ask you a question about your 20 kilos luggage and 14 countries because you've just been in the country for 10 years. If you can briefly tell us, that would be amazing. But I'm actually curious about
Yes,
that.
that was
And then we'll wrap it up.
no, a big adventure and yeah, a career break. So I'd been in a digital agency working in London, and myself and my husband decided to move back to Australia. He's Australian. So at the time we had a 9-month-old and a 3-year-old. So there was two options presented to us, Anna. It was get on a plane and make the immediate emigration, or take the slow route. And so we were able to rent out our property in London, but we also did some digital consultancy. And, you know, that's the great thing about working in digital, isn't it? You can be a nomad and work all over the world. So we digitally nomaded our way across 10 countries, but yes, 20 kilos of luggage. And that included 2 laptops and 2 travel cots. So we
That's
wound our way back to Australia, the slow route, and it was a wonderful time in our lives. Yeah, no regrets there. It was amazing.
You are so brave, but it's also very admirable. Well, I know you have your daughter's 15th birthday party preparation to do. I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure people know how to find you and how to reach out to you. And I'm actually looking forward to doing one of your courses as well and maybe attending your workshop too. But it's thank you for all your contribution. I'm so glad that this is what you do and educating us all and elevating the whole industry so that we don't have to do it. So thank you. I appreciate
Thank
it
you.
and enjoy the birthday party. For
Thanks,
everyone who
Hannah.
joined us, thanks so
Thank
much
you.
and we'll see you soon.